The Dillinger Escape Plan is dead. Long live the Callous Daoboys. Now, I'll forgive you if you've never heard of this band before, since mathcore doesn't get nearly as much press as it used to in the MTV and MySpace days, but 2019's Die on Mars was one of my favorite albums of the past decade and cemented this band immediately as the heirs to a throne that now sits empty.
Perfection.
And their incredible talent only shines brighter with Celebrity Therapist, making it another must-listen album in 2022. Once more, we open on a particularly aggressive note with Violent Astrology, Carson's unhinged screams alongside the very Ben Wyman guitar work launching us headlong into pure chaos. The insane drumming and explosions of bass quickly ramp things up to 11 and threaten to overload your brain with input. Then we take our first turn into the sardonic spoken word elements before spiraling back into an unpredictable deluge of panic chords, psycho movie strings, and downright experimental vocal elements that make the number 12 Looks Like You feel like radio pop by comparison. A few dynamic interludes later, and that comparison is only further strengthened with our first pure melodic moment with Carson's passionate scream singing alongside the dreamy math rock guitars, before pulling the rug out one last time for more calculations of infinity.
Morals in progress.
That's just the first song. They follow that up with the lead single, a brief article regarding time loops, which is another one to keep you on your toes. More chaos in the intro, followed by one of many infectious hooks to come. I never fail to be impressed with how this crew manages to make songs that are so equal parts challenging and extremely catchy. I actually did a double take checking the runtime on this one because, appropriate to the title, this one takes you through more twists and turns than should be possible in just over 3 minutes. Once more, love the spoken word elements, calling back to the days of MySpace core before we're propelled into our first real breakdown, with Carson getting downright demonic with this more deathcore sounding delivery.
I need an adult! I need an adult!
This band is nothing if not a constant game of highs and lows. Few others can pull off getting so heavy and so soft in such a seamless manner on a single album, but more on that to come. But we continue with beautiful Dude Missile with its electronic intro, further collisions of the Dillinger Escape Plan and the number 12 Looks Like You, alternating panic chord punishment with little jazz breaks and even a little breakbeat. Not to mention one of my favorite sing-along moments around the 1 minute mark in an album absolutely packed with them. And might I add that Carson has quickly become one of my favorite lyricists with their highly evocative and often avant-garde choice of words.
Held together inside Manila prisons as he gives up his sense of space and time. Floods up his house and solitude.
The sheer amount of layers of sound to this one make play-by-play increasingly difficult at this point, and yet we haven't even scratched the surface of what else is in store. Title track, which is quite literally titled just those 2 words, gives us a little breather with the sounds of rain against soft ambience before things get wild again. The electronic additions definitely escalate here, as do the sheer number of sudden transitions. But the real disorienting moment comes when, without warning, we go from full tilt mathcore into a slow palm-muted guitar and soft vocal harmonies that wouldn't have been out of place on a brand new record.
All the time, overbearing, straight on Manic Street.
And as a big fan of both the heavy music and indie and pop-punk sounds of the early 2000s, I love that this band is driven by influences that go well beyond the usual. This evolves further into one of my favorite singing moments from Carson to date. It's impossible to not sing along here, this time reminiscent of Greg Puciato's recent solo work, and the sadness is absolutely palpable.
Does it make you feel big just to say we did love another?
Am I crying? No, I'm not crying. You're crying.
Yeah, call me corny or cringe for loving this if you want, I'll own that shit. What a haunting performance. And the little bursts of vitriol only make it all the more emotionally stirring, building into the powerful conclusion.
Interruption of scripture stars. So give me the torch.
This aesthetic continues into the chill vibes of field sobriety practice, that is until we transition into what I can only describe as the number 12 meets the Mars Volta. More rising violence with a collage of vocal approaches from deep death growls to further poppy duets. Absolute anarchy with more cryptic lyrics that no one can fully interpret besides the band themselves. All culminating in a conclusion that feels like a spiritual successor to the Garden's all-nighters from Worse Than Alone. Then time for some D-beat going into The Elephant Man in the Room, which is also one of my favorite titles with its quite clever seeming triple entendre. A piano break that oddly enough had me thinking about Tyler the Creator, then more headbang-worthy explosions of guitar and bass that are just delightful. Funny that I'd describe this as one of the more straightforward tracks when really it's anything but. What is Delicious Who Swarms has another one of my favorite vocal hooks sounding a bit like something off of Miss Machine mixed with a bit more snarling extremity for good measure. But also some excellent saxophone in the quieter moments. I'm not sure it's possible for them to write a song without some sort of drastic duality at this point, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And finally we close with Star Baby, the groovy bass and stomp of the kick inducing serious head bobs right from the start. Really, the bass is excellent for the entire track, and the vocals reach peak sassiness here, once more getting self-referential as Carson humorously croons, "Don't want any Callous Daoboys, I want my murder podcast," before propelling us into the fray for the final time.
Don't want any Callous Daoboys, I want my murder podcast. Because of the one that we studied it.
And true to all of the bucking of convention, we wrap things up with the feminine backing vocals, piano, and full brass ensemble that you'd expect from like a 2000s Panic at the Disco track.
Moment of weakness, labeled revelation.
What an incredible ride. Let's just get straight into the 3 scales with this one. I give Celebrity Therapist a 10 for enjoyability. Again, I'm always so impressed with bands that can somehow have this much pop sensibility in their songwriting while also offering compositions that are highly complex and technical. Which brings us to another 10 for musicianship. I feel like whether you like the music or not, this should be without question. The performances from every single member here are absolutely dizzying, and better yet, they all manage to work together like a well-oiled machine. And yes, I'm also giving them a 10 for innovation. Not only does this represent growth from their already top-tier debut, you're not going to hear another album anything like this in 2022, and the next time you do, it'll probably be their own follow-up. So yes, twice in 1 year, somehow, it's another perfect 10 out of 10, this time for the Callous Daoboys and Celebrity Therapist. Check out this playlist for more mathcore-related videos and a podcast interview with Carson, and let me know what you thought in the comments. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.